Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is going to be, I'm going to try to keep this reasonably brief because it's a race. It's a race. It's about who can get out their review first and stuff like that. So I want to keep this in a way sort of brief. So I want to do this, first of all, what am I trying to do? I'm basically going to try to do my thoughts, my feelings, and my review of the Equestria Girls. Again, it's just Equestria Girls. But anyway, of the My Little Pony movie. And in short, it's really, I think it's really good. I must admit, I don't think everybody's going to love it. It's not perfect. It's not the greatest movie ever, but it's pretty dang good. As I said in my first video on this, which again was like a 5-minute video. I want to get this done. I want to be like the first person out to do this and stuff like that. And to a point, I succeeded in that. And that was a brief. So if there were problems or anything with that video, I'm sorry. That video was just, I want to get that video done and out the door because I want to get this done quickly. But anyway, I basically, everything I said in my first video is true. Basically, everything about this movie is good. It's good, everything's good about it. Okay, now that I've said that, I'm going to break this video down into 2 parts. I can't decide which hand, whatever. I'm going to do this into 2 parts. The first part is going to be basically a spoiler-free part of this. Not going to go into detail on the story or anything that'll spoil anything. The second part, I'm going to go into sort of my usual mode of just rambling on about things and discussing how I feel, what I thought about the movie, how I thought about the plot and stuff like that. So there will be a portion of this movie where basically it's like, don't watch anymore. Fortunately, that's not that part right now. So anyway, I want to try to keep this brief because it's a race. I want to get this video done. I mean, I'm going to try to do a reasonably good job, but as my way, I don't write scripts or anything, so I do things off the cuff, so I don't know. I'm going to do my best to not do spoilers in this first part. But okay, so let's get on with it. Again, so I must admit, in general, my 30-second review was actually honestly pretty good in terms of spoiler free. I mean, everything about this movie is good. I mean, if you've seen My Little Pony before, this is classic My Little Pony, but with an unusual twist on it. And I think and there's definitely cool surprises and things. I don't know if that was a spoiler or not. That there's definitely a lot of neat things about this movie that is good. It's classic My Little Pony. If you're a fan of the show, if you watch the show, if you're a brony, you'll most likely like this movie. You may or may not. I'm certain some bronies will say, "Oh, this is terrible!" Oh, but no, I think, I will say, I don't think there's anything to panic over. I think the show is safe. The show is safe. There's nothing show-breaking about this, to be honest. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say I was gonna make a comment, but I think I'll save that for my spoiler section of this video, just to the off chance, because I really don't want to spoil this for you if that's not what you want. If you want to go into this blind, then I must admit, why are you watching a review? Why are you watching a review of this? I must admit, I kind of feel that way. But anyway, I mean, this is generally good. This, there's nothing shocking about this. I mean, some people thought this was, this is going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. It's going to be, they're going to break the show and everything. It's like, no, I don't think that's the case here. The plot's good. The story's good. It's a classic My Little Pony episode kind of thing. It just has an unusual twist on it. So I think it's really good. I like it. I love its theme. Its theme is a classic My Little Pony theme, which is, again, it's not a big surprise. I'm going to describe it a little bit. It's basically, friendship is magic and people coming together to overcome big problems. I love this theme. I wish we had more shows and more stuff out there that had this theme or had values in general, which is definitely the big sell point for me for this movie. It has good values. It's really good. It has people coming together to solve problems and stuff like that. And as always, it doesn't feel forced. It feels believable. The plot's good. Everything about this movie is good. So if you're a fan of My Little Pony, you'll most likely like this movie. The songs are good. They're, I'm going to say, a little different than they usually are. But ultimately, I think they're really good. I like them. So again, I don't know if you're a non-brony, you may not like this movie because obviously it is still My Little Pony, even though it is people. I mean, so obviously the songs are obviously, a quote-unquote acquired taste, so a non-brony may not like these songs. But, excuse me. But yeah, ultimately, I think that this movie's really good. I like it a lot. I'm definitely gonna buy the DVD and stuff when it comes out, which I'm certain it will. It's an awesome thing. I was thinking, it's like, oh, by the way, I don't have any screenshots or pictures to show you because obviously that would be bad. So, but ultimately, this is a very, I like this movie a lot. It's very good. It's simply a classic My Little Pony episode, and if you like My Little Pony, you'll like it. So I think that's gonna be it. So this is the end of the spoiler-free section of my video. So if you don't want spoilers, then I suggest you stop this video right here, right now, because things are about to get spoiled and complicated and stuff. Because now, so I'm gonna say to you who are turning off my video right now, stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out. And for those of you who are deciding to watch my the second part of this video, let's get on with it. In this video, just to clarify again, this is totally, free, weapons free, in a way that I'm gonna go and do whatever I want now. I'm gonna go into spoilers and story and stuff and why I think it's good. So if you don't want spoilers, again, just warning you one last time, if you don't like spoilers, stop the video right now and go do something else. Watch an episode of My Little Pony. Guaranteed way to be undepressed. If you're depressed, go watch a couple episodes of My Little Pony. That'll guarantee you to be undepressed. At least it works for me anyway. But anyway, so now I'm getting into my my free fire zone in a way of, and just talking about stuff. Again, I was going to comment on my experience. This is actually the first time I've actually been part of a Brody quote-unquote event. So I'm going to make a separate video on that because I want to keep this video reasonably short so I can render it really fast and get it out the door so that I can be one of the first people out there to get this video. So anyway, so enough of that. So basically, I was right. Mostly, yes, I was right in that. First of all, this movie was really good. It's really awesome. The storyline is something I really like. I mean, there were lots of twists and turns and surprises, but they're not shocking. I mean, I must admit, Sunset Shimmer. Again, I can't say her name for some reason, so I'm going to still refer to her as the evil Nemesis Pony, which I must admit was, whoa. I mean, that's so befitting her. I mean, I really honestly wanted to believe that she really wasn't this evil person, but in reality, she is. She's incredibly evil. And so are ringing telephones. Curses. Note to self, add soundproofing to the door. I'm pretty certain you can hear that phone. If you can't, then don't worry about it. I'm pretty certain you can. But anyway, the point is that rule 2, disconnect the phone. No, just kidding. No. I'm sorry. It just annoys me because I haven't. Whatever. Enough. So anyway, the plot of I really like the story. It's not perfect. There's. I must admit, obviously there's a few things I got right and I got wrong. I mean, I had a thought of, I could go back and do I'd almost like to do a video of myself going through and what did I get right and what I get wrong. I could do a reaction video to myself. No, I don't think I've heard of anybody ever doing that. Someone reacting to one of their own videos. A part of me almost wants to do that, but I don't think I will. But if there's an off chance you want me to do that, comment in below and stuff, and maybe I'll go do that. I probably won't though, because that's silly and dumb. Anyway, back to the movie. But yeah, I really liked the plot. The plot was good. I mean, it was relatively straightforward. I mean, with all this alternate parallel universe stuff, it's very easy to get bogged down in technical details of like, why is there no Twilight here? The answer to this is that there actually is a Twilight, but for some unexplained reason, she's basically off in a city somewhere. We don't know why. I really like the My Little Pony references. Oh, and by the way, well, actually, I guess if you're watching this, you either don't care or you've seen the movie already. But I'm going to say, if you, in the off chance in this section you haven't seen the movie, stick around for the end credits. There's something kind of cool at the end. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, if you have to leave, don't. It's not that big of a deal. But you might see someone there that you might be familiar with. But anyway. Yeah, I mean, the plot was good because, again, I love this. The central theme of this, again, was having these people come together. I mean, it's interesting that you have all the, I mean, it's really, again, this was a reflection, almost in a way, of our world, obviously, duh. But, and the thing that was the most telling is when they go to, like, the lunchroom, there's all the cliques, I believe they're called now. There's all these groups, like the techies, the rockers, the athletes, the drama people, the eco people. There's all these groups. Everybody sits at these tables, and they're all in these separate groups, and they're really not one group, one community. They all have these little communities, and Twilight is like, what? Why is everybody all separated? And that was a cool theme in that this was really about Twilight reuniting all these people who maybe at one point were all friends and they were all working together and stuff. But then the evil nemesis person, she basically messes this up. I mean, I don't know if she messed that up. I think that was more a reflection of our world, that we have all these little groups that we sit into, that we fall into. But and Twilight, in a way, fixes that, quote unquote, fixes it. She reunites the main six after they've basically been split apart by the evil nemesis person by basically tricking them with emails and text and stuff. I mean, that kind of annoyed me a little bit. It's like, really? You never bothered to go up to Rainbow Dash or whoever and actually find out why, and actually talk to her as to why she didn't show up when you expected her to show up? You never did that? I mean, if this is your friend, wouldn't you want to confirm that face to face? I mean, I could understand if they were really far apart and stuff, but they live in like the same town and stuff like that. So whatever. I mean, I think that the human world was actually pretty good. I mean, again, there was nothing show-breaking about this, and like what stays in the alternate universe, what happens in the alternate universe stays in the alternate universe. It's basically, I think that's gonna be the short answers to people who are afraid they're gonna break the show and ruin the show and stuff like that. No, that's not what happens. No, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. Just a second, we just wanted to, never mind. Just checking something. Anyway. But yeah, I think this movie was really good. I gotta say, the evil nemesis person is scary. She was scary. I mean, I must admit, I was really shocked by the ending of this, but it was really cool at the same time. Woo, that was cool. That was such an awesome ending. I loved that ending. I was shocked at first. It's like, she is evil. She is evil. She's like a devil. I mean, my gosh, she's so mean to people. I mean, that was such an interesting thing about that. And I think I'm going to comment on the ending a little bit towards the end of this video. But yeah, she's evil. She's evil. I mean, wow, oh my gosh, I was totally not expecting that to happen. All I'm going to say is I was wrong about that big beam thing sending her back to Equestria. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what that big beam thing is doing. It's doing something completely different. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm going to comment a little bit later on that. I mean, I loved the theme of this, that, bringing people together and seeing... Oh, yes, it's Wonder Colts. Not Wonder Bolts, Colts. I like Bolts a little bit better, to be honest, because Colt is, well, first of all, it's specific to a young male pony, so that would be a bit insulting to some of the female fans, but whatever, it works. It still works. Yeah, I mean, that was cool, that this is in fact the Canterlot High School. I like Canterlot Academy a little bit better, because honestly, it's pretty obvious that this school is more than high school, because you've got, people of all ages and groups and stuff here. I mean, you've got the Cutie Mark Crusaders, who obviously don't belong in a high school, but whatever. But anyway... But yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I figured the big part of this was how they were going to get back. But no, getting back part wasn't the hard part of this. It was obviously getting the element of harmony back. And I think the plot was honestly pretty good. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, it was a lot simpler than I thought it was. Like, for instance, like when they thought, like, why can't they steal the elements of harmony? Well, they don't know where it is. It's like, when Twilight goes to... Principal Celestia, that was cool. I must admit, I didn't really like them, Seluna and Celestia as big principals. It's also kind of odd that they're sisters. I don't think I've ever heard of that happening, of having a principal and a vice principal who are both sisters. I don't think that's ever happened before. It probably has somewhere, but it just seems odd. But obviously, that's the obvious role you'd cast them as. I guess the other was you could have made them president or something, president and vice president, but that wouldn't have helped. That wouldn't have helped them. But this does explain why Celestia, Luna, and basically everybody can't. All the other characters can't go. It's like Celestia the Celestia in Equestria describes that basically, well, you would upset the balance of this world. Well, she somehow knows that there are these alternate versions of the parallel of the main six. So if they went, there would be two of them, and they obviously would. It would obviously cause massive trouble. It would be like in Back to the Future, where young Stephanie, I believe that was her name, I forgot. It's been a while. Young Stephanie confronts old Stephanie, and they go, "I'm old," and they each go. One goes, "I'm old," and the other goes, "I'm young," and they both faint. That would obviously be the reaction that you'd have from there. That obviously would cause serious problems. So that's the reason why the other main six can't go, and Twilight has to go. I liked how they dealt with all those things, particularly because those are complicated things. Like, you could have made this as complicated or as difficult as you wanted it to be. I mean, if you were doing this in like a Star Trek episode, you could have made this a lot more complicated and stuff like that. But it's a little kid show, so they had to keep it simple, and I think they did a good job of dealing with those issues of temporal mechanics and stuff like that, whatever you want to call it. I think they handled all that really well. It's simple, it's straightforward. They didn't get bogged down with exposition. I mean, that was the hard part. Even I'm going to comment. I mean, yeah, and towards the end when they're trying to explain what's happening, I think they did a fair job of dealing with exposition. You know, explaining why and something is happening, how it works, particularly like in an alternate universe. That's really difficult in exposition to do, particularly when you can't explain it in complicated terms. You have to explain it to a 6-year-old when it comes down to it. That's rough. That's hard. I think they did a good job. I think they did a good job in that. I really liked this plot again. And I think it's fairly good. I mean, the characters are obviously interesting. I mean, I have to admit, yeah, I still kind of don't like them in these humanized forms, to be honest. But still, it works. Everything about this works, and it's cool, and it's very emotionally satisfying. There's at least a couple really good emotional power moments in this, which I like. I love emotional power moments, particularly because I was not expecting those emotional power moments. In short, I think I'm not going to comment on the ending after all. I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to wait for that on the off chance. But all I'm going to say is this ending was completely unexpected to me. I did not expect this ending, but I love it. It's so awesome. I was if I wasn't in a theater with other people around me, I would have been going, yes, yes, yes. I'm like, yes. I love this ending. This is the kind of ending I want to see in a lot more television shows. In short, people coming together and overcoming problems, and that was awesome. And I liked it. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the music. The music was a little different in this one. I looked at the credits. I stayed through for all the credits. Must have been not paying attention to all the time, but it appears that all the songs were written by Daniel Ingram. So, but they're definitely different. There's some more traditional Daniel Ingram songs in there, but again, I haven't memorized the songs or how many there were. Sorry, I have a short-term memory. I'm still, as always, I'm sleep deprived. And much of it sleep deprivation appears to be my constant state, I'm afraid. I'm gonna have to I have to have like a special clock or something that's gonna like knock me unconscious at like 10 o'clock every night. That might be the only way I might get to bed at a reasonable time. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the songs are pretty good. I like them. I must admit, when I heard the full song of the Canterlot Wonder Cult, I must admit I didn't like that song as much as I like that verse or whatever it is. But it's still, they're all pretty good. They're a little surprised. The opening of this movie was very surprising. It was not what I was expecting. I mean, it's, I must admit, it's one of those, it sounds like one of those songs, I must admit, it's one of those songs, it sounds like they let some kid play with the synthesizer. But a lot of people like that kind of music. A lot of people like that kind of like mismatched kind of song and everything. But it worked. I kind of liked it. It was clear that they're trying to copy the opening a little bit, but not actually use the opening. I don't know why. I almost want to feel that this was fan service. This almost sounds like one of those remixes that the fans do. So maybe that's it. I have a feeling that that's what they're trying to, a partial thing they were trying to do with this. They're trying to pay fan service a little bit. As I said, there's something at the very end of the credits that I know is for fan service, and I think that you'll probably like. It might be worth sticking around for the credits. The good news is the credits are not 8 minutes long. They're like 3-4 minutes long. I think they're basically the credits. They're probably the credits at the end of a standard episode. They're just simply much slower, and so it's probably the same people and all that stuff, because all this, I mean, it's only an hour and 10 minutes, so it's basically just a really long 2 or 3-parter or something like that. So, but overall, it was good. The songs were good. The animation is, I mean, I must admit, I'm not a critic in animation, so the animation seemed good to me. I mean, but yeah, I liked this movie. It was good. It was fun. It was fun, but it had a good message in it. It wasn't a downer movie. It was good, you know. I mean, I must admit, I mean, there's so many downer, depressing movies and so many bad stuff going on. It's so nice to see a movie like this. It's about people coming together and overcoming problems and winning at the end. All I will say about the ending is, yeah, I must admit, when I kept seeing this looks like game over. We're all doomed. We're all gonna lose. It's gonna be terrible. I mean, I'm going to tell you that the ending of that, it does feel that way. It feels like game over. We're doomed. What are we going to do? But all I'm going to say is Twilight finds a way to overcome those things. And I was definitely right in that this is, in a way, a quote-unquote a Blue Star moment. And if you didn't see my previous video, my OC Blue Star is a heroic character, but he's not unaffected by things. He is afraid of things. He's initially afraid of things, but he finds the courage to stand and to face whatever it is, whatever that threat is, whatever it is, he finds the courage to face it. And this is exactly what Twilight does. Twilight is staring, defeat, not just for herself, but for Equestria, everybody she cares about. She's staring that right in the face and looking up at, I'm just going to say, a very scary, very powerful person. But she I don't think she's unafraid, but she's determined not to back down. She's standing her ground. She finds the courage and ultimately prevails against it. As I'm going to say, in the usual way that My Little Pony defeats villains of this type. And I must admit, that part, I mean, it's hard to comment on the ending and what happens to Sunset, to the evil nemesis pony. Sunset Shimmer. It's hard to comment on her without describing what happened to the ending. All I'm going to say is that that sort of worked. It was a little unbelievable, but at the same time, it does work. Again, I think I might make another further analysis video about this later. That, yes, this is spoiler free. I could say what I want to say, but at the same time, I think I don't want to completely ruin it for you. I mean, I must admit, if you're watching this part, you obviously don't care about spoilers, so I should be able to tell you, but I think I'm going to save my thoughts and feelings on that for now. Again, I want to keep this reasonably brief because I want to get this out. I want to basically get something like this out the door because I must admit, I want to be one of the first people to get this done. But yeah, overall, this movie was really good. Again, I don't think everybody will love this movie. I can't say to every member of the Brony community, you will love and adore this movie. I love this movie. Again, it's just this is such a great theme of people coming together. The magic of Equestria, the magic of friendship exists everywhere. And not just in Equestria. That we can I will say this, that the elements of harmony can be harnessed even in this alternate universe. Just not in the way you thought. That was such a cool thing. That really was, to be honest. Wow, I totally didn't see this coming. I did not see this coming. I think I just spoiled it. I think I broke, whatever. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm going to say what I want to say to a point. But, yeah, I mean, I love that theme. We need more themes like this. We need more shows like this that are saying these things, is that we don't have to give in to these kind of things. When bad people do bad stuff to us and bad things happen, we don't have to give up. We can't just say that's just too bad. We can come together and overcome these problems, make things better. We can make our world better. But the key is we all have to come together. And that is the theme of this movie, is that if we come together and we all work together, we can overcome these problems. We can harness the magic of friendship and make our world better because of it. And to me, that makes this movie awesome. I love this movie. I love it. It's good. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's great. It's a good movie. It's great. Not everybody will like it. A non-brony will probably not like this movie. But then again, maybe they would if they give this movie a chance. I must admit, some of the songs are obviously very quote-unquote childish. Some of these songs might make a non-brony run out the door screaming. Not quite, but you know what I mean. If you've been watching My Little Pony, I think you know the kind of songs I'm talking about. They're all good, but they're also not the kind of song that not every adult person would want to listen to. But yeah, like in Smile, 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 one of my favorite songs. Like, I can't watch the videos sometimes because it's just so silly and childish and, reminds me I'm watching a show for kids and children and stuff. But I love the song. That's a great song. If I'm depressed, I listen to that song a lot because it's just so cool. Again, that song is really about how Pinkie Pie really loves everybody. How what makes Pinkie Pie really happy is making other people happy. That's cool. I mean, think about it. There's not how many characters do you know who basically what makes them happy is not making themselves happy, but making other people happy. That in itself is cool. This is why My Little Pony means so much to me. And I must admit, I'm going off the deep end a little bit because I must admit my next video that I'm planning to do is basically how My Little Pony is the last and only show that is promoting these values. That's saying these kinds of things. That isn't about we're all doomed or the bad guy or watching us lose. The bad guys are always ahead of us and doing bad things to us, kind of like in Black Ops 2. If you've played Black Ops 2, you know what I'm talking about. Through the entire game, the bad guys are one step ahead of you, and they're doing bad things all across the board. I mean, even at the very end mission, Menendez is still getting one up on you. Ooh, darn! I'm sorry if I spoiled Black Ops 2. It's been out for ages. If you haven't played Black Ops 2, you're not going to by now. I'm sorry. Honestly, I hate doing spoiler warnings. I really do. I want to just do things off the cuff and do what I want to do. Because I must admit, as I said in my introductory video, that's really the purpose of my channel, is I want to talk about things that I care about, that matter to me, and express my feelings and my emotions. And really, this is what this section of this video has done. I mean, I must admit, when it comes to the review of this, I probably have said everything that I really plan to say. And I just love this movie because it's just so happy and positive and fun. And it's a classic My Little Pony episode. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but carries a message with some serious weight that if we all learned, our world would be a much better place. I can say that for certain. So, and I hope that you get the chance to see it. I mean, again, if you've watched this section, you either don't care or you've seen it already. But if you haven't seen it, I hope you do get to see it some opportunity. Give it a chance. Again, I'm not going to say that everybody's going to love it, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of bronies who probably will not like it. But again, there's nothing show-breaking about this. Everything that happened during Equestria Girls, in theory, is going to stay in that alternate universe, including Sunset Shimmer. We're probably not going to see her again. Again, this is a spoiler-free part. This is the spoiler... Oh, whatever. So, so don't worry. They're not going to break the show. They're not going to break the show. I think the show is going to be intact. In fact, the show is probably not even going to remember this. They might mention it from time to time, but I think ultimately it's not. I mean, that was one fun thing. For people who were so concerned that Twilight was going to be about her wings and how she was going to feel about them and everything. I actually thought that was cool. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, she basically doesn't, in a way, have control of her wings yet. She may have been able to fly at the end of Magical Mystery Cure, but it's clear that she hasn't gotten full control of her wings yet. I must admit, I was really annoyed because the theater I went to, the first maybe minute or so, the audio wasn't working, so I didn't catch it. So. I mean, so I don't even know why Twilight was in the Crystal Empire, but yeah, I mean, I love that bit. I love that part. That was such a cool part. It's like Twilight hasn't got control of her wings yet. How annoying it would be to have these big things on your side. Like, how would you sleep if your wings are like popping out and stuff when you're like sleeping? How would you sleep? But yeah. So anyway, again, this is that's classic My Little Pony there. So again, I think that they were doing their best to not break the show and to do stuff like that. And just, it's a classic My Little Pony. There's nothing shocking about this. It was a really cool side adventure thing for Twilight. And that was the other thing that was cool about this. This was the big sub lesson that I think I completely missed at the beginning when I was first watching this, that Twilight is really scared and afraid and uncertain that she can be a leader, which I must admit was something that I've actually thought about a little bit. I'm going to say that I've done a number of other of these. If you've listened to Blue Star 1 and Blue Star 2, you know that I do these things where basically I go half asleep and I just record. I basically form the story in my head beforehand a little bit, and then I just let go and let the story happen. Well, I've done a number of these that I probably won't release. One of which was... I don't know how to tell this without this. All I'm going to say is, in this story, explores a little bit what would it be like to become an Alucard? How would you feel that way? I mean, and Luna says, Luna basically says that, none of us, when I first became an alicorn, I didn't think I could handle this either. And I would imagine that's, I must admit, alicorns to me are, they're evolved not just in power, but evolved in personality. So, so someone, like King Sombra would probably never evolve to an alicorn because he's obviously evil, he's self-centered and stuff like that. So he would never evolve to an alicorn. But Twilight has evolved to an alicorn, and to be honest, that kind of person is going to be reasonably humble. It's going to be reasonably humble and, in a way, have some self-doubt. I mean, they've just evolved at this big, high level. And it's like, am I worthy? Am I ready for this? Can I do this? And Twilight's going through that. Obviously, I didn't catch how long. I'm going to assume that this really wasn't that long after. This is either immediately after or maybe a couple weeks, days, whatever, months, who knows. Probably days or weeks from after the end of Magical Mystery Cure. So Twilight's still learning things. She's still uncertain. She doesn't really know if she can do this. She doesn't know about this. And that annoyed me that Celestia's always like, we have a lot to talk about, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. No, it's like, whatever you want to tell Twilight, tell us now. Tell us now. Again, I'm sure they did that primarily because, that wouldn't be fair for, fair for people who haven't seen this movie, because obviously, most likely, this season 4 might start before you get to the opportunity to see this movie or not. I don't know. I mean, whatever. But whatever on that one. So yeah, it wouldn't be fair for the people who haven't seen this movie, because clearly it's a very limited release, and not everybody's going to get to see this movie in the theater. I've had one comment already on my video. It was like, basically, I can't see this movie. It's not in my theater. Ooh, sorry. I hope you get the chance. I hope for people who do want to see it, I hope you get to see it. It's really good. I mean, again, whatever. Again, you've probably seen it already if you're watching this. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that was fun. I mean, the great sub-lesson in this is that, Twilight is really wondering, can I be a leader? And at the end of this movie, she knows that she can be a leader. She's rallied this alternate main six, the school, all these people behind her. And the reason is because she she's succeeded in uniting all these groups and all these people for a common goal and a common interest, and reuniting them and reigniting their community, literally, their community spirit. I mean, it's school spirit in this case, but I like to look at it as the school being like the Canterlot / Ponyville. This is the community of these people. And Twilight is able to basically unify these people and bring them together. And Twilight knows that she's a leader by this. And that's a cool sub-lesson there. And that's cool. And in a way, so but does this mean that are we going to see her deal with these issues in season 4? Or are we going to say she's dealt with these issues and we're just going to leave it there? That'll be an interesting question. I think the answer will probably be, it might be a little of both, that maybe we won't deal with it. I mean, since this was really a sub-lesson, I think in theory we won't deal with that. And it really wasn't, I mean, again, it wasn't a big deal in this movie. It was sort of like an afterthought kind of a thing, but still important nonetheless. I mean, Twilight's just gone through this big, massive change. It's changed her appearance in theory. Her personality in theory hasn't changed, but her role has obviously changed massively. So there's all these things that's changed for Twilight. So so obviously she has to deal with that, and in a way, this is, I think, maybe the tertiary sub-lesson or whatever it is, another sub-lesson that, yeah, I mean, Twilight is dealing with her alicorn state. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of that in season 4. It's clear that Twilight, while maybe was able to gain a basic mastery of her wings, has not fully mastered it. I mean, I must admit, if I was a writer, I would not throw away that opportunity. That's such a story gold mine there. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fun things in this episode. It was interesting to see, the main six and how they're different and everything. And it's like they did a very good job as always in writing and everything. And the voice actors or the voice actors or actresses in this case are very good. And they're awesome. They're cool. So yeah, I mean, I like this movie a lot. I mean, there's so many good things about it. I mean, again, I'm not going to pretend it's perfect. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you're crazy. But I must admit, I get very emotional and very passionate about this, as a lot of bronies do, because this is literally the only show I know of, a children or adult or any show for that matter, that has these kind of values, that's trying to teach us values, that isn't trying to make us depressed. It isn't violent, graphic, sexual, or anything. It's literally something that you could show to anybody of any age, including a 6-year-old. They'll understand it. They'll learn something from it. They'll like it. They'll be emotionally involved with the story. They'll care. They might learn something. And in the end, might actually teach people of something of all ages and maybe even make our world a better place. How can this be a bad movie? It kind of reminds me of... Now, I'll say this. It kind of reminds me of Halo. In short, the reason why Halo does so good, without going into depth on that, is Halo does everything good. It does everything excellent. You know, pick a topic. The answer is it does it excellent. You know, graphics, excellent. Story, excellent. Multiplayer, excellent. Single player, excellent. Everything excellent. How can you lose when everything is excellent? I can't say that in this case everything's excellent. Everything is good. There are things that could have been better. You know, there are things that could have been maybe a little bit better. But ultimately, I really like it. And this is a great movie. It's a great movie. I think it is. So, I'm definitely looking forward to having it on DVD and stuff like that. Maybe show it to my parents, see if they... I don't know if they'll want to see it or not, but it's definitely a really cool movie. And it definitely makes me feel so much better that something like this is out there. That there's at least one movie that will have these values, that will stand for them, that will be that one fortress of light against the darkness that is our world and everything. It's just, that's really how I sometimes look and feel about My Little Pony. It's the one fortress of light in our world and in the media that's trying to stand for something more than just simply, you know, keeping jobs and, you know, making money and stuff. This show stands for so much more for that. This show was originally commissioned to do that. This show was commissioned by Hasbro to sell toys, to make them money. But it's grown into something so much more. And this movie is simply a reflection of that. It promotes the central theme of the show, that friendship is magic. Friendship exists everywhere. And that with the power and the magic of friendship, we can overcome difficult, almost unsolvable problems and make our world a better place. And with that, I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I might have actually reviewed this instead of just commenting on how I feel. Again, I don't think to a point that's not a bad thing. I think commenting on how you feel isn't so bad. But, you know, reviewing, I hope I did do a decent job of reviewing it. I must admit, that's DigiBrony in theory. Brony Curious, that's their job. You want someone to fully analyze something, that's their job. I'm not going to try to beat them at that. But I hope I did do a decent job of reviewing this, expressing why I think this movie is good and what I like it, why it means to me, and all that stuff. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, oh well. Sorry, I did my best. But yeah, I really like this movie, and it's really good, and I hope you enjoyed my review of it. So anyway, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.